Test 1, 2. Why can't I hear? Oh, thank you.
All right, welcome everybody to our first actual virtual chapter meeting. We're hoping that this goes really well and that we'll be able to do the meetings more often this way. For those of you that are not familiar with the Microsoft Teams application, just a couple of tips on how some things work. If you can keep yourself muted unless you actually are talking, that helps with the background noise. And then down towards the bottom of the screen, if you move your mouse down, you'll see a little bar pop up. On there, that's where you can mute and unmute yourself. There's also a little square with 3 dots that if you click on that with the right or with your mouse, it gives you some options for setting up your device settings. And so if you're having problems with the audio, that's where we had to go make some changes for us to work. And then you also see a little raise your hand symbol. So when someone hits that, that indicates to us that person has a question and we can see that. So if you have a point or you have a question, if you do that, then we'll recognize you. That way we don't end up trying to talk over each other all the time. And then if you hit the hand again, it lowers your hand. So that works very well. For those that are guests with us today, we had a board meeting this week and used this, and it actually turned out pretty well. Thought it worked good. So so we're going to go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order here. So Zach, if you could go ahead and do a roll call. I'm here.
Here.
I'm here.
I'm here. Present.
John's here.
Sarah Lynn's here.
All right, very good. Thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda is the president's report. Not a whole lot to report from some standpoint, but all of you know we've been going through quite a bit with the COVID shutdowns, and so many of us working from home. Those of us that are not working from home, but not going anywhere except to work, for example. So that's affected a lot of us. Obviously, we had to cancel both of our conferences this year. We didn't want to do that at all, and I think we'll mention that a little bit later and talk about some of the details. But it was just we just didn't feel like we could take the risk of people from all over the state getting sick and then going back to their comm centers, and we literally could wipe out 911 in the state of Missouri. So a tough decision, and we waited until we thought we just didn't have any other choice and made that decision. So those things happen, and a lot going on around the country right now. Some of us have been dealing with a lot of protests and things like that, and we've been, as a profession, dealing with a lot. And so make sure that all of you take care of your people, because if we don't take care of ourselves, nobody else is going to do it. That's kind of obvious right now. So anyway, we're going to move on from there to the next item on the agenda, which is the Secretary's report. Zach. Okay.
Yes.
All right. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Matt Knight will make a motion.
This is Cheryl. I'll second.
All right. Matt has a motion for approval. Cheryl seconded. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor just say aye.
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 A lot of ayes. All right. Any opposed? All right. The minutes are approved. Okay. I think another point too in regards to the membership is that we generally tend to see some new members when people are registering for the conference, which of course we didn't have this year. So because it's cheaper to pay for the conference if you're a member. So sometimes an agency will not necessarily pay for a membership until they want to send them to the conference, and then they'll pay for a membership and add them. So that kind of bumps our numbers up a little bit. And that didn't happen this year. So that's. With that being said, and with everything else that's going on, I'm not too upset with the numbers we have now. So, all right, Chair will entertain a motion to approve the Secretary's report.
This is Cheryl. I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay.
Roger will second.
All right, Cheryl made the motion and Roger has seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it is approved. Cheryl, Treasurer's report.
Okay, Treasurer's report. Our general account balance is $70,582.21. Our trading account balance is $2,300.68. And our total balance is $72,882.89. We have a little over $6,000 to deposit into the training account for money that we received for PST1 classes, so that'll bump that amount up a little bit. I meant to get to the bank yesterday, and I ended up dispatching all day, so I didn't get to the bank, but I'll try and do that later today or Monday. So that's same thing with the lowered membership. It affects our dues that come in, which is a large part of what our income is. So those numbers are going to be a little bit down because of that too. So hopefully when Zach was talking about membership, one of the things that we might want to think about pushing out there is the group membership. A lot of agencies could get their people as members and get those benefits in place and pay a significant lower amount per person by being a group member. So maybe we could do a campaign on that and get out to some of the agencies and let them know that that's an option for those that don't know about it or don't understand about it, and see if we can bump our numbers a little bit that way too. Does anybody have any questions on the report itself? This is just January 1st to July 21st when we had our board meeting. So it doesn't reflect the balance. It just reflects how much we expended and how much we had come in. The largest chunk of our expenditure in training was the PST1 manuals. which we're starting to see some of that income come back in on that as we're starting to be able to have classes again, which is good. It's been a while since we've been able to host anything, so it's good to see that back in there again.
All right. No questions for Cheryl? Okay, then we'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Roger, so moved.
Okay, Roger made a motion. Zach seconds. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? All right, the motion is approved, as is the treasurer's report. Okay, and by the way, for those of you that are on here with us, there is a chat function if you don't see that. So if you have questions or anything like that, you can say that, and I am watching those just in case we see any comments or anything from those that are attending. So next on the agenda, the Executive Council report. Roger.
Thank you. Just to carry on with what Cheryl was saying about the partnership and your training committee for Missouri Appco, I put the 2019 report on the PS Connect. If anybody wants a copy or needs that individually, just give me a shout or send me an email. Training is way down, as would be expected. So for the Executive Council, the big thing on the menu for them is the Joint Chapter Initiative. For the last year since Baltimore, they've been talking about joint chapters in a work group, and they have come back with a decision item, not a decision item, but a recommendation to the Executive Council. Basically, last year they said no more joint chapters. After review, they have softened that considerably. Joint chapters will be allowed. They're giving some recommendations. I have put that information up for the board, so if anybody wants to see it, I can also give that to them individually, or it's on PS Connect. We'll be voting on that next week. The Executive Council is meeting virtually on Friday. But after having reviewed, we talked about in the board meeting on Tuesday, if anybody has any comments or suggestions, this would be a good time to pipe in and let us know. Really, the whole thing is chapters will be able to do joint chapters as they need to. They gave some recommendations about having people that are on the executive board be full Appco members as well as their joint association member. And they've also are in the process of changing bylaws to where they will have an additional position of secretary being a full Appco member as well as the treasurer. So I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Treasurer being a full Appco member as well. And then they gave some recommendations on finance, splitting up finance and stuff, but the lawyer team backed them off of that. So that's just, you'll see that in there, but that is all just recommendations as far as having split checking accounts or multiple. I don't think it's going to affect Missouri Appco. I don't think it's going to really affect international Appco in the way we've been forming or working up to this point. It's just some business practices that Appco would like to make sure people are considering at the chapter level.
So Roger, for just for those that might not know, to give a little background, can you just kind of let us know what some of their concerns were, why they had a concern about joint chapters?
Primary concerns were financial and interactive. Financial, we had one chapter that had a loss of a considerable amount of money because their bylaws and policy manuals were not written to protect their finances, as Missouri's are. We also had one chapter in the international Appco that was not receiving. They were a joint chapter between NINA and Appco, and they weren't receiving any dues from NINA. They were receiving Appco dues, but not NINA dues. So that was problematic. And then interactive. The board usually comes into chapters and swears in the new officers, and you have an Appco board member swearing in people who he doesn't know if they're Appco or NINA or whatever, which was rather problematic and talked up. So there were several small things that happened. The money obviously is a big issue. You got to keep track of, be fiscally responsible. So that was the big thing, and they discussed it, gave some good recommendations as far as making sure you have control of your finances. Everybody knows they need to do that, so those chapters just failed to. And that was the big thing about last year, saying no more joint chapters. But
Yeah.
they have certainly came off that. The executive council was very adamant about continuing to let the chapters have the freedom to join jointly as well. So,
Well, I think in the chapter presidents meeting we had at the conference last year, majority of the chapters talked about doing things like we do here, where we work well together with the NINA chapter, but we don't feel a need to combine them into a single organization. So,
in the workbook, you'll see, or in the work group's report, you'll see joint ventures is a new term that they're pushing forward. Joint ventures, such as we do with our sister associations at the annual conferences, and they gave some recommendations for that as well. If you're having joint ventures, make sure that you're controlling that. Even joint meetings, as we have done in the past. So they're just giving some recommendations. I don't believe there will be any change, and I don't know that we'll have any problem, accepting those recommendations from the work group.
Robin, did you have a question or a comment?
Sorry, I had to unmute.
Yeah.
I just was curious if the executive council meeting will be public, or if there's a link to be able to view it.
Well, it's virtual, so I'm assuming that means there will be limited access, but I have not been told that. I have not seen anything come out to the world yet as to come in and join, as there usually is. Everyone's welcome to come in and sit in, but with a virtual meeting, they may be trying to control the number of people there. Plus, this year, well, as you know, Robin, there's always a bunch of reports and stuff in the executive council. This year, they're trying very hard to make it a training session. What the executive council representative should be doing, thinking, providing back to their chapter and to Appco. So it's kind of a different format. I'm assuming we'll still get the treasurer's reports and the financial reports and that sort of thing as well. But they're going to try and do, instead of like a primary speaker, they're going to try to do a little bit more of a training group for new executive council members. So, and as I said, I have not seen that come out to everyone. If it's coming out, they need to get it out quick. But I haven't seen it come out to the full membership as yet.
Well, and that's exactly what I'm interested in, is the treasurer's report and the reports from, Derek and the board.
Well,
basically.
Derek's report will obviously be released to the full membership, probably through PS Connect. Finances, they don't usually release except to the board of officers. But if you have questions on those, then you can come in. That wasn't a question from the board meeting. How financially sound is Appco International? Very financially sound. They have saw a decrease because of the conference, but they've seen increases in their virtual platforms and their virtual training. So they're taking a bit of a hit, but it's nothing that Appco International can't bring into the fold and work through. They're looking at budgets, decreasing some of the budgets that they're spending on, but really they're going forward business as usual because they have the financial stability to do that.
Okay.
Cheryl has a question or a comment.
Yeah, Roger, they're still doing their virtual business sessions, right? That we normally do at Appco, that you can attend, right?
What do you mean by business? The Appco
The general,
30th and
the
31st.
general sessions, the first and
Yes,
second.
I'm sorry. Yes, Steve put that out just the other day. Yes, we have the general business meeting on Thursday, the first one, and the second one on Friday. Those times have been put out. I can pull them up for you if you need them, but they've been put out through PS Connect and through the websites and that stuff. Plus, voting is open. We've said that too, but voting is open. Make sure you vote for your Appco International candidate. And I don't know if I have it later in the thing, maybe so. For Missouri Appco chapter elections, we just put out the pamphlets for that for you to look at and volunteer to become a
And
Missouri
you have to register ahead of time, right, for the business sessions to view them?
There was some question. There was an RSVP on it, but when I checked in with the management team, they said no. So I'm not sure if there's confusion. I would go on, find that it came out to all membership. I would go on, find it, join, just so, just RSVP just in case. I think there was a little confusion on that.
Yeah.
Meeting.
It's a learning environment for sure. Thank you.
Sure. Anything else for Executive Council? Thank you, folks.
Okay, very good.
Oh, I'm next too.
Yes, you have the next item also, Roger, so just carry on.
ProChart. I'm the chair of your ProChart. I would like that to change, so if anybody would like to volunteer. Just a little history, maybe everybody on knows, but ProChart is our professional committee for human resources, scheduling, finances, looking at the human side of what we do, taking care of our people. Trying to expand, training, all those things are involved in ProChart. So it's very encompassing. Appco International has been doing it for years. So have we, just on the down low, because most of our ProChart committee things have been taken care of by the legislative committee or the training committee or the bylaws committee, those sort of things. But we're trying to bring it out. We started a new program last fall. It's called Teammates in Action. It's not new to Appco International. They've been doing it for about a year. But we pulled it into Missouri Appco. We've had 4 recognitions so far in 2020 of teammates. And really, it is just, that's it just. All the time we're saying, I was just doing my job, or that is just my job, or I'm just a dispatcher. You hear that all the time. These recognitions, teammates, are for doing a good job that's just your job, taking that call and making it work, dealing with that medical emergency, those things, peer-to-peer, boss to supervisor, peer to boss, whatever it is, anyone can nominate. It's on the website, it's on through social media. If you have a problem finding it, get a hold of me or Zach and we'll direct you to the right place. But it is just recognition of good teammates. It doesn't mean you saved 5,000 people from death. It just means, hey, I took a call and I helped this lady find her money back because I remembered I could talk to UPS and get that done. Or I did my first EMD birth in a car on the road coming to the hospital. Those sort of things. So please start recognizing our peers and our workers. That's what Teammates in Action is all about. ProChart as well. It is made up of myself as chair and the ambassadors out in the regions. And we try to push information back and forth and make sure that we're recognizing those things that are going on. I'm getting ready for retirement, so I would like to have more involvement. That's my big push this fall. Retirement, 2 years. So anyone interested, and it should be everybody on this call and everyone in 911 and in public safety communication who's interested in professionalism, service, and recognizing our peers, please call me, send me an email, and we'll get you on the committee and we'll get you working. And I don't really have a formal report. That was it. 4 Teammates in Action. We're very proud, and Zach will tell you later about social media and how much we blew up the internet.
Yeah. Well, how many did you were telling us the other day views on that last one, Zach?
Put him early, Steve. Woohoo.
Yeah. Yes. That's awesome.
And also for ProChart, you can go directly to the international ProChart teammates, but if you give it to us, we will recognize here in Missouri, and then I will submit it to the International Association for also recognition at the international level. That's all I got.
All right, very good. Any other comments or questions for Roger? Okay, very good. Matthew, you're up for the commercial advisory report.
All right. Well, thank you very much. First thing I want to report is something that has happened for us for the first time for the Missouri Appco chapter, and that is a sponsor for today's association meeting. We've been talking about doing something similar to this for quite some time, because some of the other state chapter association meetings have sponsors from their companies that support them, typically at either their conference or some other form or fashion within the state. And today we have Russ Bassett that has stepped up to be our sponsor for today's event. We're very excited about that. At 12 o'clock today, we'll have a virtual tour of their factory showing, I think, several options of what they have to offer of console furniture. So that's something that, again, for the first time is new for us. We're excited to be able to offer to our membership. The other item is a short item, but I do want to get out there because it is important to me, and that is for the MPSCC conference itself. We're always looking for companies that are marketing here in the state of Missouri products or services to our public safety PSAP agencies. So if you have companies that, even if you're not buying or it's not something that you're interested in, but they are talking to you about a product or service for your agency, I would invite you to go out to the MPSCC website, find my contact information. I've got an email address listed and a phone number listed. And by all means, send me the contact information for that company. I'd prefer to get company name, a point of contact, and an email address. Email address is more important than a phone number, so that I can communicate and send out the invitations at the time that we're trying to solicit for our commercial partners to participate with us at the MPSCC conference. As most of you know, the spring conference is our larger conference, so we're looking forward to having a big splash and have an outstanding event. I know Cheryl and Angie, that are both on the Appco side here, have been a part of our education committee, and they've got a huge a huge number of our presenters that are going to be coming back, I believe, for the spring conference. So we're really set up and poised, I think, for a great conference. We're doing the same thing with regards to the commercial partners, bringing a lot of those companies back. And I expect that we'll have a significant number of commercial partners participate with us. But again, it's only as good as what you all can help me make it be with regards to the commercial partner exhibit floor. And so if you have those, please make sure that you get those in. Roger Martin, you've always done a great job at submitting those companies to me and getting those added to the list. Thank you. I appreciate that and that assistance. I do as much work as I can to find new companies and make sure that we've got a number of companies that are new for each conference participating. And it looks like, Cheryl, you've got a question.
Yeah, I was just going to say I've got a couple for you first off. And then Denise Gibbs came by yesterday from Motorola, and she said that the Sheriff's Association is going ahead with their conference at Margaritaville next month. So I don't know if Sheriff Corte is going to be there, but it'd be kind of interesting to get his feedback and see how things go if they do proceed and move on forward up there, just so for preparation for us, plus contacts and some of those other things.
Outstanding. Thank you. I'll look forward to those contacts, and I'll probably reach out to Sheriff Corte and talk with him about the companies that were in presence for the Sheriff's Conference.
Okay.
Yeah, I know for the Sheriff's Association, they have mandatory training that they do at that conference, so that may be why they decided to go ahead and continue with it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Matt, on the commercial side?
Nope, that is it for today. Thank you.
Matt's been doing a great job for us, because I think when Matt first came on board, I believe we only had one or two commercial partners that were actually members of the Missouri chapter, and we're up to 7 now. So that's good growth for us, and we want to continue to see that. So when you're talking to those folks that are selling you things for your comm center, or even just you're not purchasing, but they're doing demos, whatever, ask them if they're members of Missouri Appco. They can be members of multiple chapters. So a lot of times I've talked to people, they don't realize that. They don't know that they can be members of more than one chapter. And so they live in another state and they think that's the only one they can be have a membership with. And so anybody you talk like that, feel free to refer them to Matt, because Matt will help them walk through the process and make sure they know what they need to do. And we're, like Matt said, we're always looking for people that want to come and show us new technology. And I'm very excited about the Russ Bassett demo today. I always like to look at cool furniture and technology and stuff anyway. So that's going to be a good thing. So
just to, before you take a question or comment from Cheryl, I also wanted to point out, I actually bring that up at every spring and fall conference, is the question about, are you a Missouri Appco commercial partner? And that's one of the things that I think has kind of helped us out with growing that. I'll continue to do that year in and year out to help educate them about the options that they have, because other associations do not necessarily give multiple state options, not just their home state, but being able to choose Missouri. And I really feel like that if they're marketing and participating in Missouri activities, that this gives them an opportunity to give back to the state. It's a small monetary financial commitment for their company. But again, if they're working within the state, that this is a good opportunity for them. And quite frankly, we've done a good job at helping support those companies as well. Thank you.
Cheryl.
Matt, can you tell us which are the 7 companies that are currently Appco members? Do you have that information?
Actually, I do not. I know that Zach just pulled a new report that brought the 7, so I was going to be working with him. He just got those, I think, earlier this week. So I can submit that to our executive council here, so everybody knows who those are. We were actually looking at taking advantage of the revamp of the website that Zach, I know, is working on to help showcase and highlight those 7 companies as well, that they are companies that support the Missouri Appco chapter.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely want to do something to kind of recognize those folks that actually become members of our chapter, so that, you know, if you have 2 companies and their price is pretty close and you're satisfied with both products, but one is a supporter of Missouri Appco, choose that one if you can. So any other questions or comments for Matt? Again, thank you, Matt, because you're doing a great job as our commercial advisor. And I know you work really hard on the conferences and stuff too, so I appreciate that very much. Sheriff Cordy was not able to be with us today, and he would normally give us our 911 Service Board update, because he is our representative to the board. JR has been involved in a lot of stuff, so he may have a couple things to say. And then if he's still on here, I know Brian Madewell had joined us, and he's the new executive director for the Missouri 911 Board. So I want to give him a few minutes also to speak to everybody. So JR, is there anything you want to share?
Just that we're currently in the middle of multiple funding opportunities, accepting grants, grant applications, and evaluating those, both from the prepaid wireless fund and federal grant money that we received through the state. And we're looking over those, and some of those are in the process of being awarded now. Please just keep your eyes open to the information that the service board puts out. They've been really good about spreading information about when those funding opportunities are available and what's available out there.
Okay, Brian, would you like to share a few thoughts?
Sorry about that. I had to unmute. Are you able to hear me?
And I kind of threw you under the bus there. I didn't let you know ahead of time I was going to do this. So,
are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can speak to a little bit about some of the board activities if you want. JR covered the grant and loan program that's currently ongoing. The board is currently in an RFP and selection process for GIS services. And that'll be discussed at the closed section of the board meeting as well. The other efforts that the board is working on is just recently, we haven't made it completely public yet. You guys will be the first ones to hear it completely, but we're working on a text to 911 side of the web page for the service board that basically kind of gives some information to consumers if they want to understand text to 911 in Missouri and kind of how it works in general. And then there's also a side for PSAP. So those that might be interested in implementing text to 911, have any frequently asked questions from a technical or operational side, they can actually visit there and kind of gather some information and give them some good resources and examples from Missouri PSAPs that have gone and applied and used text to 911. Some of the other things that the board is working on, just kind of internal things, we're revamping some of the bylaws just to make them current with kind of the electronic meeting and voting that goes on nowadays, as well as the training committee that I think Roger mentioned a little bit, that we're working on revamping the rules related to the 911 Training Act. So being able to update those and provide those to the board for final approval, and then eventually you'll see all the rules lumped together in the same section and the rules for DPS. So they'll be related to 911 and anything that the board kind of has authority over, they'll be actually located in the same section once all that's said and done. But other than that, I'm open to any questions anybody has, or if I missed a topic that somebody's interested in, let me know.
What about the survey that went out? Are you getting good response on those?
We are. As of yesterday, we were going up by close to 12 every couple of hours. So I think we were at 45 to 50 yesterday, last time we looked. The deadline's today. If people are having difficulty with anything, they can actually reach out and have call my cell or send an email to us. We're more than happy to help out as much as we can. The reason for the quick turnaround is to basically get the information back to the NINA for the EPRC. And then also SEC has a deadline of July 31st for their data. So trying to get those back and get the data populated for Missouri and kind of keep that going moving forward. We know we're throwing a lot of surveys at you here in the next couple of months, but ideally we want to just roll it back to one a year, that you get kind of one question a year, and likely you got one more coming in January of 2021 that will be asking for 2020 data. But we're getting a fair amount of responses and a fair amount of questions of them from all different parts of the state. So we appreciate that.
Okay, Zach, I think you had your hand raised first for a question or comment.
He touched on it.
Okay, all right, Matt. You're still muted, Matt.
Thank you very much. Hey, Brian, if you could tell us a little bit more about the regional meetings that are planned in the month of August as well, and what you're looking to accomplish during those regional sessions, and who's going to participate from a leadership perspective.
Gotcha. So during the leadership meeting, we're going to have board staff, which includes myself, Casey Nail, Scott Penman. We have board members slotted, but due to the volume of the meetings throughout the week, they'll be kind of coming and going depending on what they're available for. Some of the board members that are on the regionalization meetings are Jason White, Alan Wells, one of our new board members, Mark Stidham is actually on there as well. He agreed to be on there, and we're kind of baptizing by fire. This is going to be kind of his first committee on the board things. So what we're trying to accomplish with those is basically just get an understanding of what goes on in your region. We've actually been making some cold phone calls to, you might have heard from a couple of your PSAPs, that we're just asking some questions about what goes on in your area. What kind of things are you seeing that you're having either difficulties with, that you're having good experiences with? What kind of questions do you have about what's going on at the state level, that sort of thing, and just making sure that we have some good participation throughout the different regions of the state during those meetings. So that's generally what we want this to be. Is we want to hear back from the PSAPs in the area, see what they've got, information they have, anything that we can do to be helpful, and then also pass some information down of where we're at with some of the efforts that the board's working on related to GIS projects. I didn't really mention a ton, but in the works is a next generation feasibility study, RFP, that'll be coming out down the road, related to kind of a state plan sort of thing. Those sorts of things that are kind of like in the works, but can kind of give you a little bit of details of where they're at least right now. That's the goal for those meetings. Does that cover what you were asking for, Matt?
Cheryl, you have your hand up.
I just wanted to tell you, Brian, that we really appreciate all the work that the Service Board is doing on behalf of the PSAPs. It's really nice to see the work that's going on and you guys reaching out to us to see what we've got going on, what we're needing. And it's been a very long time coming. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I know that the board is excited. I'm very excited as well. I appreciate that. So anything you guys or any recommendations you guys have to make things better, we're looking for those too. Just let us know.
All right, very good. Any other questions or comments for Brian? Brian, thank you very much for helping us out there and give us an update.
All right, thanks, sir.
All right, next, we're going to talk about the Totes of Hope. Zach, is that you going to give that report?
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, then. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, at the last meeting, October of last. Actually, at that point, it was Untitled for the membership. They submitted several different names, and then the coordination team comprised of voted on the blind a monkey vote and enough. So we chose Totes of Hope. I think that conveys our message, what this entire out. But I wanted to give you guys a little backstory on what Totes of Hope is. It's a new project, and quite honestly, we're to it state level. So Totes of Hope is a regional project. Have these totes stationed deployment center acted by whether that be disasters strike at the fire or something. So we put this into effect in January 2000, October of 2019. For the remainder of 2019, we had no tote deployment, which is fine because we didn't really project, we didn't broadcast it that we're doing it. Since then, notes out here. We've deployed it 11 times in 2020, which is sad, but it's also good that we're seeing that. First, before I go into our deployment list, I want to introduce you all to coordination. That way, if you're out there, you know who you can. I'm going to start up in the northwest corner, circle. Northwest is Sarah Lynn Hayes, also our Appco region ambassador. Northeast is Sarah Lynn County. We just accepted the position. Oh, so welcome, Sarah Lynn.
Zach. Shelby.
And that ding you heard is a reminder. So I'm sorry. Central is Angie Stevens out of Jefferson City. His name Angie, I'm sorry. Southeast is Justin Davis. He's with the Highway Patrol Office in Poplar Bluff. And then Andy Bailey is Southwest Coordinator. For the state, we've also got two state co-coordinators. That is myself and Kimma Burnett. It's in Springfield, and Kimma is with the. So as I said, 2019 we had no deployments. 2020 we've had 11 so far. 6 of those have been in the Sarah Lynn. So I want to take a moment to Sarah Lynn for every trip you've speak for just a moment. Appointments, I'll let you in a second. We've had 2 in the Northeast region. Both of those have been in the St. Louis metro area. It's not necessarily city, but it's St. Louis. We've had 2 in Southwest Missouri, Springfield, Green County. 1, and then we had 1 in Southeast Missouri. I'll break it down a little bit further as well, so you can kind of see our trend and progressively getting more deployments as the year. So in January we had 1. That was the first one for the deployment, and that was way more death for a fighter. In March we had Springfield PD as an active situation. In April we had 1, Poplar Bluff PD, murder-suicide involving. That was pretty. Not going to release close hit. Poplar Bluff Department. In May, we had 2. We had a line of duty death from an Independence firefighter. Then east side were shot while assisting with called vehicle. Patrol dispatch, St. Louis proper. In June, we had 4. Line of duty death with the DeKalb County Sheriff's Department in the North region. Johnson County 911 had the unexpected death of a active employee. St. Louis Metro had 4 officers shot and a retired captain killed. Riot situation in St. Louis City. And then Cameron PD, we also deployed for suicide. Sir. July, so far we've only had 1, and that was the serious injury of an officer. So far, we've also had to introduce totes, additional totes. We were originally approved for 5, 1 for each region. In June, we asked for a second tote, and the board approved it, and that was deployed to the Northwest region because it said 6 of the, at that point, 10 lone Southwest tote, additional Southwest tote was donated, and a floater tote has. Before I go any further, Sarah Lynn, do you want to talk about any of your?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Hi, everyone. Sorry, my dog's barking all of a sudden. I'm still working from home. So for those of you that think it would be awesome to have a job working from home, I can tell you it's really not. So, first off, one of the questions I get is what type of stuff are in the totes, right? We talk about the totes of hope, but what kind of stuff is inside? And what we found, really the feedback that we've gotten from those that have received the tote is snack type items, de-stressors or distractors, so coloring books and stress balls and, different things, trying to think of dispatchers. Some, maybe have health issues like diabetic or whatever. So really I try to be pretty as open-minded as sugar-free items or nuts or, different things that might mean something. I know the tote that was in Johnson County, the dispatcher that passed was really liked Reese's peanut butter cups. And so I think that they put some in there, and it was when the dispatcher saw that, it was a happy cry because they knew that the individual that they lost that had worked there for quite a while, he would have been very happy for them to receive the tote and to, enjoy going through everything that was in it and take advantage of it. In some cases, we've had agencies that have replenished what's in the tote or donated items to go back into the tote, and that's great. We're happy to have that. There's no requirement because we will also replenish what needs to be in the tote. But just the feedback in general that we've received from those agencies that have had the tote has been so positive. I feel like it's really been worth it. The money and the time and the effort that has, been spent to put it out there. And I think Zach's going to talk about the form that we have and, how you can submit a request. There have been times that we've heard about an incident, and so we make the decision to contact the agency to see if they want it or, would be willing for us to deploy it to them. And then in other cases, we've received requests for deployment. So, Zach, am I missing anything?
No, thank you, though. I'll speak briefly and then speak briefly on how we deploy. So there are two ways that we do deploy. The most common practice so far is we've out through Facebook. There is an official way that you, whether it be center or training centers or you come into knowledge of this, you can go to our Hopes of Hope. There's a form on there. It's very quick, but it just gives us brief information on what's going on. Are aware. When you hit submit to that, when we do make a determination, don't automatically first. Something that or some that may not, or some situations that we may feel, but people on the ground there more aware it's not ready. So we will contact the center and make sure that they're good with it. Then we will deploy. We also notify our executive council on here so that the executive council is going to the state of Missouri. More of just a situation. Any questions so far? Because I got 3 more points. Turn it over. Set it that.
Cheryl was first.
Okay. Never mind. Okay, you're muted.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I just want to say, from being one of the agencies that received the tote, it was very much appreciated. Our folks used everything in it. It was a great thing at a very, very stressful time, and we really do appreciate it.
I would follow up with that too, because the one in July was for us at KCPD. We had in a single day, we had 2 different incidents where officers were shot. The one was turned out to be minor in the morning, and then later in the afternoon had an officer that was shot in the head. I'm very happy to announce for anybody that doesn't know that he actually left the hospital yesterday and was transported by ambulance out of state to go to a rehab center. And as he was being wheeled out to the ambulance, he gave a thumbs up to the medical folks that were there. So they are using the term miracle in regards to him and where he's at right now, because in the first few minutes, we weren't sure he was going to survive. And now it looks like it's going to be a very long road of recovery. But our folks in our center are exactly the same thing JR said. They were so grateful to get it, and the tote is completely empty. They used every single thing in there. All the little puzzle books and things that were there were exactly what they needed. So it is a great program, and we're going to continue to keep doing this. And if it needs to expand, we'll expand it some more.
We are going to try some options to national coordination. But we're gonna talk to some going for us to nationally. I will give credit where credit is due. This entire idea came about by reading a news article from St. Joseph. They do this regionally. To the membership, we're calling on you to help us design a Totes of Hope logo, project logo. If you are interested, you're a little bit creative, go to our website, that form, go to Facebook about that design for us, get in touch with you. Really is a good program. Still seen it. To be honest, we have spent a lot more money than we initially anticipated. It's not a big deal, but the board is aware of that, and we are looking at ways to kind of be fiscally responsible, though. It includes fundraising. Also have the power to donate. Initially, we were going to donate every MPSCC. Obviously, that did not work this time. So, if you want to donate, I believe, get in touch with Cheryl as our treasurer. We ask that all donations go through her so that we can keep financial track of everything. That is all I have. So, for me on Totes of Hope. Launch real.
So while he's working on that, I'll do a little filler here. Just say that the presentation. It's time for us to do it with Russ Bassett. We're very appreciative of them being a sponsor and helping us with this. And this has been a little bit of a technical challenge that Zach has been working on, because they use another product called GoToMeeting, and we're using Microsoft Teams, and he's setting it all up through his computer so that he can log into their software and then display that and then show that to us, and has to actually put his microphone next to the speaker for us to hear the audio. But this is going to be just a little demonstration by them, 15-20 minutes at the longest, and kind of show us a little bit about how they make their product and their product. So whenever you're ready, Zach.
Hello, Russ Bassett. Are you there?
We are here.
Okay, you are on the line with Missouri chapter of Appco. Welcome, everybody.
Oh, all right. Welcome. All right. Welcome. Well, I just wanted to start. I am Meg Grimmett, sales executive for Russ Bassett in the Midwest. We're excited to be sponsoring the chapter meeting virtually, which is a new and exciting and appreciate the opportunity to show you this condensed virtual showroom tour. If anyone is interested in a full showroom tour, my contact information will be provided again as a follow-up. And for now, I'll hand it off to Trevor in our Whittier, California showroom.
Hello, everyone. I'm Peter. This is Trevor. I'm Peter. This is Trevor. Welcome to sunny Southern California this afternoon, this morning for us. And like Meg said, we really appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you today. And number one is we want to say thank you for everything that you do in your profession. We truly appreciate everything that all the public safety professionals do to protect us, keep us safe. And we know that you guys have a very stressful job. And today, in these times of COVID-19 and all other just our world today, we know it's more stressful than usual. So we truly appreciate everything that you do. And we're certainly disappointed that we're not able to see a lot of our current customers and meet new prospective customers at the conferences this year. NINA, Appco, certainly, and in Orlando, we were looking forward to attending both of those conferences nationally. The chapter conferences, unfortunately, have also been canceled or postponed or going virtual now. So we're certainly disappointed that we're not able to meet and see you all face to face. But like I said, we for this year, we were particularly excited about the conferences this year because we've introduced a new console product platform, our Define console product platform, that was to be debuted at both the National NINA and National Appco conferences. And we're really excited about this new product platform for a variety of reasons, but three key reasons are very budget friendly, very aesthetically pleasing, and also offers significant space saving versus traditional consoles. Even our existing product platform comes in a variety of different shapes and sizes. So it's not one size or shape fits all. So as Meg mentioned, we've been doing a number of virtual tours. We've done about 6 this week with agencies across the country that we can do a full scale product demo. We can do virtual design layouts if your future plans do include new console furniture. We recognize there are a lot of choices for dispatch console furniture, and we'd certainly appreciate the opportunity if and when the time's right at your particular agencies to show you and demonstrate what we can do with our relevant project experience and see if we may be the right fit for your agency. So again, thank you very much. Thank you for everything that you do. We appreciate you. And I'm going to hand it over to Trevor to just talk for about 10 minutes in terms of the product, and then we'll just say goodbye and wish you a good rest of your meeting today, great weekend, and continued safety and strength. So thank you very much. Trevor?
All right. Well, welcome again to the showroom. We're happy to have you join us. And it's my pleasure to introduce you to the Define console. It's kind of a clean white slate for us in some ways. I'll add a 4th topic to Peter's list, which is ergonomics. At least for a lot of you, this is going to handle ergonomics in a different way than what you might be used to. So I think I'll start with that. We'll talk about the user experience and what this console is. It is a sit-stand console, and when you buy a sit-stand console, a lot of people think of that as they're buying that for a way to get comfortable in a seated position. But the reality is that there's a lot of health benefits to periodically standing. When you go to a lot of PSAPs, it's quite common to see everybody sitting, and it's not real convenient sometimes for people to stand periodically. So if you can stand for 5 or 10 minutes at a time and then sit back down, there's a lot of health benefits to that. And so what we want to do is make that as easy and convenient to do as possible. And that's what this console is all about. So what this is it's a dual lift console, which means that it has 2 independent lift systems, electric lift systems, one for the primary and then one for the monitoring array. But unlike a traditional dual lift, it's not a split surface. It's a single surface. And the array, rather than being on a sliding platform, is suspended over the work surface. So that gives us a whole bunch of really nice advantages. The first one is that with a traditional split surface console, a lot of them have like embedded puck controllers that go to sleep, 2 different controllers because the lift systems are moving relative to the floor. So to go from sitting to standing, you have to wake 2 controllers up, and then you have to adjust both surfaces to a standing position. And when you get to the standing position, undoubtedly they're going to be a different relationship from the monitor to the keyboard than what you were just had in the sitting position. So you have to readjust that. It's not very convenient. So what we've done here is created a full lift console with single surface, which means in addition to having my primary adjustability, I also have my array suspended above the work surface with its own lift system, but it is moving relative to the primary, not relative to the floor. So what that means is I have one controller, which by the way does not go to sleep. And when I raise my primary, that relationship from the keyboard to the monitor does not change. So now it's very simple for me to go from sitting to standing with a single controller. I don't lose that relationship. I can stand up for 5 minutes. I'll feel a lot better for it. And then I can sit back down. So that is a dual lift, single surface console. Another thing that I had mentioned was the fact that we don't have a sliding platform. So with no split in the surface and no sliding platform, I have an awful lot of usable work area. So one of the things I want to just point out is, since there's no sliding platform, it gives me all this room to do a dashboard for all of the controls. So my lighting controls, my heat and air, console lift system, ambient lighting that I can turn on or off. I got device charging, all these different options for the dashboard. And that's in a place that would normally be consumed in some consoles with a sliding platform. Behind that, there's a flipper door back here. It has the connection points for keyboards, mice, desktop equipment, power connections, and that stuff is hidden away nice and neat under a flipper door. So the cables just run straight back and drop into there. And that area, again, is an area that a lot of consoles is not available. So having this single surface console gives me all this usable work surface. I don't have to span across the seam between split surfaces, which also means that I don't have to compromise monitor height if I do need to open up binders or other reference materials. The other thing that I'll point out is that all of the cabling is done on the front side of this. So if I have back-to-back consoles or consoles against the wall, I can do all the cabling from the front. And the backside is shrouded. None of those cables are tied to the backside of the array. So if you go into a lot of centers, you see a lot of array bars that have cables. It's a big mess, and if somebody stands up, that's really visible. Here, the backside is completely shrouded. The plug strips for the monitors are in a shroud. Underneath the plug strips is a trough. All the excess cables just drop into that trough. Any cables that have to come down, such as the video cables, will just come through these energy chains, which are all accessible from the front. And then they run straight down to the energy chains below, again, all accessible from the front. Here I've got a acoustic fabric panel surround, but then I have a lower technology frame. So my coring locations, power and data connections, all that stuff can be stored down in there. Even small form factor PCs can be in there. Try and keep as much within the footprint as possible. Because if you have to have side extensions, that reduces the footprint of the lift system that's available for the operator. So what we try to do is get as much of the technology in as we can into areas in front of the leg space that would otherwise be wasted. And that allows us to maximize the size portion of the sit stand that's going up and down for the operator. So we also have personal comfort systems. So we have our low profile, ultra quiet fans that are running right now. And even if I stop talking, you can't hear them run, they're super quiet. And we have a heater system underneath with a proximity sensor. So it times out after 20 minutes of inactivity. There's two heaters, they're spaced apart and they're pointed at the operator. It's very warm. Having them outboard and pointed in from getting chilly sides. Also, they can tilt independently. So I can point them up or down, so I can warm my toes if I want to. People have open-toed shoes and want to be able to point them down to their toes. Then we have other accessories, looking at the cup holder. I showed you the ambient lights. The cup holder rotates out of the way. We manufacture it in-house. It's welded steel construction. We have various side extensions available. If we do have to go upward with technology, we have technology storage, box file, or in this case, I'm showing personal storage. It could be like for backpacks or purses, could be in the door. And you have a drawer. The open slot works good for the Pro card set or other devices that you want to put in there. So that pretty much wraps up the basic overview. What we hope is that you will join us for more personalized tours where we can get into even more details and show you some of the other functionality of the console. So with that, I appreciate you joining us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. So again, just on behalf of Trevor, Meg, and myself, thank you very much for the opportunity to share a few minutes with you today. Wish you all a successful meeting. Like you said, stay safe. Let's all, we're all in this together. So, so we appreciate you, and feel free to visit russbassett.com at any time. You'll see relevant project experience in terms of small, medium, large, and extra large centers that we've done. We've been in the public safety space for 15 plus years. People know us for being high quality, very reputable, do what we say we're going to do, easy to work with. So again, we appreciate the opportunity to potentially meet with you when your plans call for new dispatch console furniture. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Zach, make sure they know how much we appreciate what they
Thank you.
did. So.
You're most welcome. It was our pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
You very much.
That was pretty cool.
Yes.
Thank you, Matt, for making that possible.
Most of that thank you actually goes to Zach from a technology perspective. So thank you, Zach, for getting the coordination going and getting this prepped early this morning.
You know, Zach, you're slowly but surely adding to your multiple amounts of things that you're responsible for, but we really appreciate it.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, it was.
Zach, did you have more on the Totes of Hope? Okay. If you want to go ahead and move into the technology committee report, feel free. Mm.
Mic back on. That way there's a good recording of those. We'll also be live streaming all of our meetings to YouTube, because you know a lot of agencies have Facebook locked down on their console computers, may not necessarily have YouTube locked, so they can go. Additionally, our Facebook, we've got 784 followers on Facebook, 146 on Instagram, which is something that we started in about August of last year, I think. So that's pretty good. 644 followers on Twitter, 14 followers on LinkedIn. And then, like I said, we had a reach of over 8,000 people on Facebook alone for our Teammates in Action. And that was shared 36 different times. The other big news from the technology aspect is we are updating our website. I started last night. So if you start visiting it here in the next month or two, it's going to look a little wonky as we get prepared to make it modern celebrity, if you will. So that's really all I got for the technology report, unless there are questions. Jar's got his.
So just to help you get to that 100 subscriber mark on your YouTube channel, can you send that link out to everybody in the membership so they can easily go to our channel and get that started?
I can. Actually, I'll speak a little bit on that here in just a speak on that. So yesterday we first of all, we found out that we were having issues getting information out to the membership using Disconnect. For whatever reason, it's marked as a marketing campaign, even though only. So what we did was we got a mail. Started sending. So yesterday was our first MailChimp. So please check your junk mail if you got it. Should come from my personal email, Zachary. Anyway, should come from my personal email. At the very bottom of that is the links to all of our social media, from Facebook, Twitter, as well as our website. So if you want to easily do that, just go ahead and click at the very bottom. There's an icon for you.
I also just searched in YouTube for Missouri Appco right there, and I subscribed a moment
Yeah,
ago.
I did too.
And I will tell you, I've been watching our viewership, and we've held a constant 4 people on YouTube. Who they are. But.
Thank you, all 4 of you, whoever you are.
Yeah. And Cheryl, did you have your hand?
I was just going to say I did the same thing. I searched on Appco and went right to our channel and subscribed. So it is searchable by our name. It's actually showing live our meeting on there.
Okay.
It looks good.
There's no other questions. I'm done with technology.
I hope you don't really mean that you're done with technology.
Yeah.
Wash my hands of it.
We'll be hurting.
You are not allowed to go anywhere unless you have a replacement already in mind that's as awesome as you are.
All right, next item on the agenda is our new business. The 21 through 23, 2021 through 2023 election cycles coming up. Elections should be in March, when hopefully we are able to have our spring conference again. Roger, as the only immediate past president, he's the only one we got
that's still active anyway. The others are alive. They're just not active.
Dan's retired. The others all moved away. So, but that's one of the responsibilities he has, is to oversee the election. So he's I'm going to let him speak for a little bit about the packet and encourage you to become a member of the board.
Well, the packet we reviewed and updated and approved yesterday, I believe. It is on PS Connect, and Zach will get it out to you on various other platforms as quickly as he can. Hopefully we'll have access to it for the website. I'm not sure if Zach's done that already. I didn't see it come up on the web, Zach.
It's not on there yet, but I'll get it there today.
But you'll see that on the website. It's on PS Connect. All positions on the Board of Officers of Missouri Appco are up for election, with the exception of our commercial advisor, which is an appointed position, and the representative to the 911 Service Board, which is also appointed. So please read through the packets, see where your interest lies. We'd like to have, 15, 20 people running for each position. So it's pretty simple. Just go in. There's an informational package, and then there's a second package, which is your submission forms or your nomination package. Just fill those out and email them to me, and we will get a slate of candidates up and available for you by February to consider.
And I would echo what Roger said, then also say that we're very happy to have Zach on the board. Some youth on the board. Roger's not the only one that's not very far away from retirement. JR and I both are not very far away from retirement. So we need some younger folks to become very active in our chapter and come onto the board so that you can lead this association where after we retire and kind of fade to the background a little bit, that we know we can leave in good hands. So we're asking for you to do that. Anything else on that, Roger?
Unless there are questions, I don't have anything else on the election. It will not happen until next March. We will have a slate by February. Nominations have to be turned in by February. So.
And we will make sure that there is an option for people to do online voting or remote voting, however you want to phrase it, because even if things are normal, not everybody can come to the conference. So we'll make sure there's plenty of time in advance for people to know how they can do that. Cheryl, did you have a question or a comment?
I think she froze.
I think Cheryl's frozen.
But Cheryl's our other young member. She's only 29.
Yeah, there you go. Next, new business, talking about the lobbyist. We have our current contract with the lobbyist. All three of the associations have committed to pay $10,000 each, so it's $30,000 total for the lobbyist. They have been very active on our behalf this year, even though there has not been a high-profile bill or anything. They've been keeping us very aware of the legislation that's going on. They've also kind of been laying the groundwork for us to see what the potential is for us to pass at the state level a bill that would reclassify essentially those of us in this profession as first responders. The national level, that's still kind of pending out there, still kind of hanging out, but there's been more and more states that are doing it at the state level. So what we had asked for Scott Pendon and his folks to do is kind of fill out the legislature to find out what if any opposition there might be, what questions they might have, so that we can make sure that that we're kind of ahead of the game if anybody has any questions or concerns. I know it seems like a no-brainer, but you just never know sometimes where the opposition might come from. So the other thing of noteworthiness there is that the Missouri 911 Directors Association, who is the third partner with us on supporting the lobbyist contract, majority of their income comes from the conferences. And so since we did not have the two conferences this year, they haven't had a lot of income. So the board and I discussed it. We had the idea that if at some point the 911 Directors Association is not able to make the rest of their payment for the year for the lobbyist, we wanted to bring it to you, the membership, to ask if you would give us approval, basically a concurrence from you, the membership, to help them with that this year until we can get back to having conferences, which is where they actually get their income. So let Steve Leghorn back in. So there is no need yet because they have not asked. Mike Phillips, who's the president of the Directors Association, I had a conversation, and I think Bonnie is also said that Nina would be willing to help as well. So, all right, and Bonnie on the chat side that she wants to make that as a motion. So Bonnie's making a motion that we as Missouri Appco will help out the 911 Directors Association if the need becomes present and they ask for it. Do we have a second?
Roger.
This is Cheryl, I'll second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. So now we can go into discussion. Robin texted, she said, would it be a loan? We haven't really discussed that at that point. I think we were just talking about helping them. Bonnie in the chat says she would not consider it a loan. That's not what we had really thought about. So any other comments in regard to that? JR is having an earthquake in Virginia.
It's another virtual tour.
That's right. Just moving rooms.
And again, just to make sure everybody understands, there is no dollar figure because there's not been a request. We just wanted to kind of get a consensus that we wanted to help our sister association if the need does become apparent. Right now, the last time I talked to Mike Phillips, president of the Directors Association, he indicated that he did not think it was going to be needed but he appreciated the offer. So any other questions or comments? Okay, so just to make sure that I'm saying this clearly, the motion that is being considered currently is not to loan them money. It is to help them out of our funds with any shortfall they have, if needed, for the lobbyist contract. And so the motion is seconded. If there's no other comments, Cheryl.
Do we need to make that it's in association with Monina, that we're going to do it together? Or does it matter if that's worded in there or not?
I don't believe that's necessary because we will work with them, and I know Bonnie's already committed to helping from the Nina side. This just gives us the approval as the board to move forward with that.
Okay,
sorry.
Would
you
repeat
just for record? I'm hearing a bad echo. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
would you repeat just for record one more time the proposal or the motion that's on the floor?
Okay. Yeah, the motion is for Missouri Appco to assist Missouri 911 Directors Association with a shortfall, if they have one, and they make the request to pay their lobbyist contract for the remainder of this year. As further comment in regard to that, Bonnie has definitely said that Monina is willing to assist as well. So we would not carry the entire burden of that shortfall. Nina would help, Appco would help. And again, it's only if the directors find themselves where they absolutely need that help.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we're going to go ahead and call for a vote now. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries, and we will keep you as the membership apprised if it occurs, and that dollar figure would be, and we'll make sure that everyone's educated on what happens as we go forward. So, all right. The last thing on here is old business, and that was the state fair. Sarah Lynn.
Hi. Well, so an email went out earlier this week, I believe it was, that we've canceled the 911 booth at the state fair. First message was that the governor was full steam ahead, and so we were making plans and ordering giveaways and everything, and then some big changes occurred because of COVID, and essentially the only thing remaining that I know of at the state fair is the 4-H portion of it. So the number of people coming through would be way fewer, and as the number of cases increase, we just didn't want to put any of our folks at risk, and wouldn't really get any foot traffic anyway, since the location of the 4-H and the fire station are very far apart. So anyway, made the decision to cancel the 911 booth. Hopefully we'll be able to have it next year. The things we had ordered as far as the pencils and the stickers for the giveaway, they're timeless. Brian Madewell is going to store those and have those available next year or for other events. So really, that's it. Just like everything else in 2020, canceled.
Except apparently the Sheriff's Association conference. All right. Anybody have any questions or comments in regard to the state fair? Obviously, we wish that things were normal in the state fair because we were very excited about the new venue this year, being able to be at the fire station, because there's a lot of people that go by there anyway. Just with the change in the format, the fire station is not close at all to where the 4-H show would continue. So the chances of people coming over there to see us would be very, very, very minimal. So.
And thank you to everyone that signed up to volunteer or that I heard from that wanted to help and just couldn't get away because of staffing issues or because of, not being able to travel during all of this. So definitely we'll keep you in mind next year and appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah Lynn, for handling that for us. That was a lot of work for something that didn't happen. All right. Is there any other business anyone needs to bring forward? Okay. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
This is Cheryl. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. JR got in there first, so
Okay.
yours the second, Cheryl.
All right, that works.
All those in favor, hit the off button on your computer. Thank you all
Good
for
to
being
see
here.
everyone.
Appreciate this. This was a great venue. I think we're going to try and do this more often this way.
Yes, it was good to see everybody.
It seemed to
Have a
work.
good weekend.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.